I'd always believed that hard work spoke louder than words. For 5 years, I poured everything into the marketing firm where I worked. Early mornings, late nights, skipped lunches, I did it all because I loved the job. My boss, Richard, used to say I was the backbone of the team. But the moment I got sick, everything changed.
This is Revenge by Fancy Home of Betrayal, Heartbreak, and Ultimate Payback. Subscribe and join a community that knows karma never forgets.
It started with a fever. The kind that makes your bones ache and your head spin. I texted Richard that morning. "Hey, I'm really sick. Can I take a day to rest?" He didn't reply. 2 hours later, I saw a company-wide email announcing an urgent meeting. I wasn't there to attend, obviously I was in bed, dizzy and sweating. The next day, when I came back, my ID card didn't work. Security told me to go upstairs to HR. When I got there, Richard was waiting with that fake smile he used whenever he was about to say something awful. "Emily," he said, "we've decided to let you go. You missed an important client presentation. It's not personal, just business." I stood there, numb. Fired. For one sick day. He didn't even give me a chance to explain. That night, I cried until my voice cracked. I had bills to pay, rent due, and no backup plan. My mind kept repeating his words, "It's not personal." Maybe to him it wasn't, but to me, it was everything. I'd given my life to that company. I'd worked weekends, handled clients no one else could, and even trained the intern who once mixed up logos. And now, tossed aside like I didn't matter. I wanted to send an angry email. I wanted to post everything online. But then I remembered something. Revenge doesn't have to be loud. It can be quiet, precise, invisible. So I deleted my drafts and started thinking long-term. A week later, while updating my resume, I got a message on LinkedIn. It was from Lucas, a senior executive from one of our top rival firms. He'd seen my name in a campaign we did months ago and said he was impressed with my work. We set up a call. Within 2 weeks, I was hired. Not as an assistant or a junior, but as marketing director. The twist. Our new biggest client was the same one Richard had bragged about landing, the one I'd helped secure before he fired me. My first day at the new office felt surreal. The building was brighter, the energy lighter. Lucas treated everyone with respect, something I wasn't used to. He said, "Here, we value loyalty and skill. I've read your work, I know your worth." It felt good to be seen. But as fate would have it, 1 week later, I received an email that made me smile so wide I had to hide it. The sender. Richard. He didn't recognize my new company's name, of course. His firm was applying for a partnership contract, one that required detailed collaboration between marketing teams. I'd be the one reviewing his proposal. I laughed quietly. The same man who'd fired me over a sick day was now unknowingly trying to impress me. When I opened the file, I noticed something off. His team had reused parts of a pitch I had written before, word for word. He didn't even bother changing it. Normally, I'd have called him out. But no. I had a better plan. I edited the file politely, marked duplicate content, and returned it with a short note. "We encourage original proposals that demonstrate creativity." Days passed, and his firm kept trying. Their campaigns were sloppy, rushed, like a team that had lost its rhythm. I knew that rhythm. I used to be the one keeping it steady. Meanwhile, I started rebuilding myself, my confidence, my peace. I reconnected with clients who remembered me fondly. One of them even said, "When you left, that company changed. It just didn't feel the same." Richard, on the other hand, was desperate. He called Lucas directly, asking for a chance to meet. Lucas agreed and invited me to sit in, since I was handling partnerships. I almost said no, but then I thought, why not? The day of the meeting, Richard walked in and froze when he saw me sitting across the table. His eyes widened for a split second before he forced a grin. "Emily, I didn't know you worked here." "Surprise," I said, keeping my voice calm. He tried to pitch his idea, fumbling through his words. Lucas glanced at me a few times, letting me take the lead. By the end, Richard looked drained, unsure of how it went. When he left, Lucas asked, "Should we consider them?" I smiled faintly. Not for this project. The rejection hit him hard. I didn't need to see it, I could feel it. A week later, he emailed me directly. His tone was completely different, humble, almost pleading. "Emily, I realize now how much value you brought to our company. Things haven't been the same since you left. Would you consider coming back? We can discuss a senior role, better pay." I stared at the screen for a long time. A month ago, he fired me like I was disposable. Now he wanted me back. I typed slowly. "I appreciate the offer, Richard. But I've moved on to something better. Take care." Then I hit send. And that was it. No shouting match. No grand revenge. Just quiet, satisfying closure. Still, as I walked out of the office that evening, I couldn't help but smile. The sunset hit the windows just right, turning everything gold like a reward for keeping calm through the storm. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't destroying someone. It's showing them you never needed them to rise. Even after I sent that email, Richard didn't stop. He kept finding excuses to reach out, quick check-ins, fake friendliness, questions about old clients. I ignored most of them, but part of me was curious. What was happening at my old company? So, I asked around. One of my former co-workers, Maya, told me everything. After I left, the clients I'd handled started pulling out. Campaigns were failing, deadlines were missed, and morale was collapsing. Richard had even lost 2 of his top managers. The firm was crumbling, quietly, from the inside. I didn't feel joy hearing it. Not at first. I remembered the people who were still there, trying their best under bad leadership. But then I thought about how he'd fired me without hesitation, without listening. That pain deserved balance. So when Lucas asked me to lead a new campaign targeting some of the same clients my old firm had once handled, I didn't hesitate. "Let's do it," I said. And when our campaign launched, crisp, original, and deeply human, those clients called us instead. One of them even said, "We're glad you're behind this. We missed your touch." That's when I finally smiled, genuinely this time. Weeks passed. My new firm was thriving. The campaign went viral, and our client base doubled. I started mentoring interns, something I'd always wanted to do but never had the time for before. One afternoon, while heading to a meeting, I saw a number flash on my phone. It was Richard again. I almost ignored it, but something told me to pick up. "Emily," he started, his voice softer now. "Can we talk?" There was no arrogance this time. No fake politeness. Just a tired man who'd lost control. "I made mistakes," he said. "I shouldn't have fired you. Things haven't been the same since." I didn't reply right away. Instead, I asked, "Why are you really calling me, Richard?" He sighed. "Because we need help. The company's in trouble. I was hoping, maybe you could consult for us. Just for a few months." The irony hit me so hard I almost laughed. I kept my tone steady. "I'm sorry, Richard. My schedule's full. But I hope things turn around for you." I hung up. And just like that, the man who once thought I was replaceable had come full circle asking for help from the person he'd thrown away. That night, I sat by my window with a cup of tea, thinking. The city lights blinked below me, soft and distant. I could still remember how broken I felt the day he fired me, how small. Now, things had flipped completely. But I didn't post about it. I didn't brag. I didn't even tell my friends the full story. Because real victories don't need applause. They just need peace. In the quiet, I realized something deeper. Richard wasn't my villain anymore, he was my lesson. He taught me the value of walking away. He taught me that silence can be stronger than shouting. And most importantly, he taught me that my worth was never tied to someone else's approval. I looked at my reflection in the window and whispered, "You made it." And for the first time in months, I believed it. Months later, our firm was invited to an industry gala, the kind of event Richard used to boast about attending. Lucas asked me to represent the company. The venue was grand, filled with CEOs and directors. As I made my way through the crowd, I spotted a familiar face at the back of the hall, Richard. He looked older, smaller somehow, surrounded by fewer people than I remembered. Our eyes met briefly. He gave a small nod. I returned it, polite, distant. He didn't come over. Neither did I. When our firm's name was announced for Best Marketing Campaign of the Year, the applause was thunderous. Lucas handed me the award, smiling. "You earned this, Emily." As I stood on that stage, the lights warm on my face, I didn't think about revenge or payback. I thought about growth. About how losing everything made space for something better. And maybe, just maybe, that was the universe's quiet way of setting things right. A year later, I heard Richard's firm was sold. A small line in an industry newsletter, nothing dramatic, just a quiet ending to what once seemed unstoppable. I didn't feel anger or satisfaction. Just closure. My life had moved forward. I had a new home, a new team that valued me, and the peace I'd once begged for. Sometimes, I'd walk into the office early, before anyone else arrived, and stand by the window as the sun came up. That light, soft, golden, gentle, reminded me how far I'd come. No one knew what really happened behind the scenes. They didn't need to. Because this was never about proving Richard wrong. It was about proving to myself that I was right all along, that hard work, kindness, and patience could outlast arrogance. I didn't need to destroy him to win. All I had to do was rise higher, quietly, gracefully, and on my own terms. And that's exactly what I did.